So let's see. Okay. Oh, I believe it started. Okay. If you don't have a headset, please do mute your mic. We're just getting slight sounds on the back end there. Hi, I'm Vance Stevens in Al Ain, UAE. We're at a, let's see, where are we? Let me find something where I can read here. We're at a Learning Together and TILL. That's Teachers for Interactive Language Learning hangout, and this is Sunday, March 1st, 2015, and this was instigated by Benjamin Stewart and myself after Kara, neighbor, got in touch with us, and I believe that must be Kara. One of you must be Kara. Let me mouse over the bottoms here. That's Kara in the middle. Okay. Hi, Kara. Okay. So she is in a situation where she is going to use ITV in a context she really knows little about, and she wanted. We decided we'd like to discuss it with her. So that's what we're doing. This is a Learning Together session. Every week we have this, and Benjamin also does frequent live hangouts. But Benjamin is sick today, unfortunately, so couldn't join us. But from his event page, we managed to put a URL in that people were able to follow. So that's cool. So, Kara, you were just asking us to do something?
Oh, it would just be interesting for me, since I'm new to the group, to know where people are, what kind of teaching they do, or what kind of schools they're working in, and just kind of what people are up to.
Great. We'll start with yourself.
Oh, okay. I'm a relatively new teacher. I've been teaching for 3 years in southern New Mexico in the United States, but in a adult education program. So even though it's run through a university, it's a no credit, no grade kind of situation for adults in the community. Classes are free and so on. So this was a really new and distinct learning or teaching situation. Now I find myself in rural Oaxaca. I'm teaching at a state university in again, a rural area. Most, if all, of the students here are indigenous students from very small villages. I'm in a larger town, and it's still very common to see horse carts, carts pulled by burros, people plowing in the fields using oxen, and so on. So, this is a pretty rural area, so a lot of the students come to our school with no computer skills. So they have to go through a 2-month orientation to kind of bring them up as far as their overall learning skills. And some of the students have had previous English instruction, but some of my students will not have had any English. So that's where I am.
Okay, we'll find out more about that in a moment. Let's see who else is in the chat here besides myself. I'm Vance, by the way, from I teach at an Air Force college for pilots at Khalifa bin Zayed Air College in Al Ain, UAE. So it's pretty much EFL. EFL is very EFL, and I manage the Learning Together weekly events for teachers, and that's a brief introduction.
Great.
And
okay.
Next, we have with us also Sabrina. We have Morteza just got in from Iran. Robert there in the Philippines. James here in UAE, and Glennis, and I'm not sure who. And Halima has joined us from Uzbekistan as well. So we have a worldwide audience here. Maybe if we start on which way is that? That's left. Glennis, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm. I live in France. I'm retired. I used to teach mainly adults in a university setting, but mainly. Can you hear me okay?
We can, and we're getting a little echo, so if you're not speaking, if you could mute your microphone, we'd appreciate it very much. But go ahead, yes, Glennis, we can hear you fine.
Okay. I've been coming to the webheads for over 10 years, but very occasionally. You won't remember me. Now I'm setting up online interactive exercises that I used to do through the center where I worked, and now I'm making my own site to put them on and revamp them and so on. And I'm hanging out just to get ideas and see what people are doing and what they're interested in and so on. Okay, I'll turn off my mic.
What was the purpose of that site?
I can give you a link. I make hot potatoes interactive exercises. I've been doing it since 2004, and now as I no longer have a university site, I'm making my own site. There you go.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for joining us. Next over is Halima.
Ooh.
Halima, do you want to say who you are, Halima? The webcam's not working. We can come back to Halima in a moment. Jim, you're next.
1 second here. There we go. Can you hear me now? I think so.
Yep.
I'm just down the street from Vance. He's in LA and I'm in Abu Dhabi. Relatively speaking, we're neighbors, even though there's 150 kilometers between us right now. I'm working at a tertiary institution where I'm teaching both an introduction to IT course and a basic English composition course. And I've been actively involved in EdTech for a number of years here with TESOL Arabia. I'm not sure you want to know much more than that, at least for now. If there's anything else, feel free to ask.
Okay. Well, I see Morteza has joined us. Morteza is a friend of ours from Iran. Morteza, is your mic working? Are you able to say hi? There you
hi, hello everybody.
Sabina, when's you?
Hello everybody.
Hello. Halima,
Hello.
can you mute your mic a moment and we'll come back to you in a second. Okay, go ahead, Morteza.
Okay, thank you very much, and I would like to give my special thanks to all of you, especially Vance. I'm from Iran. I'm working in the higher education at the moment.
Okay, we have, he's dropped out. Okay, Morteza is a retired teacher who is very keen on technology in Iran, which is a very difficult place to work. And for one of the reasons is his connection will drop out. So anyway, he's come to TESOL Arabia conferences. I met him here in Dubai recently, and he's quite interested in technology, has always been pursuing it, and is a bit on his own there in Iran. Halima, hi, David has just joined us. David, we'll come to you in a moment. Halima, would you like to try again?
Also, I am Halima. I am 72 years old. I live in Tashkent, capital of Uzbekistan, and I teach to adults. And I think this area of teaching is the most important to us. It is called andrology. You know, in our country, we are going from planet economy to free market. At the time I was young, all was dictated from Russia, from Moscow, what to do, what not to do. Nowadays, we have too many faculty who cannot teach proper to new standards of our time. I mean, do not obtain necessary digital competence. Therefore, we create multimedia. I will give a link to my multimedia. I am working as the educational platform created by my son. It was dedicated to the topic how to read short stories in a class, how to increase vocabulary, how to understand plot, how to discuss about main characters, supportive characters. Also, I prepared it together with my friend. She is already 73 years old. I know Vance, and always thank you him for inviting me. It was very interesting. And I was in Evo session. You know Evo session, yes? I was in 2 groups. In one group is what called ebook crafting. And I hope to get a certificate because I learned a lot here, how to make presentation in PDF format to import them, how to connect publishers, and I prepared. I will give you a link, maybe you will see. If you would like to see me, you can ask me and I allow you to read and edit even, okay? Thank you very much. Then you can hear my English. I cannot say that I am speaking very excellent because English is not my mother tongue, is my second foreign language after German. After Russian even. You speak Russian, English, German. If you speak this language, you can speak with me. Thank you very much.
Oh, okay, Halima. Thank you very much. We'll stick to English in this chat, just so for the recording. Robert, you're the next over. And Morteza, glad to see you back. We went on and I introduced you further after you dropped out a moment ago, but I'm glad you're back. Robert, would you like to say hi briefly? Can't hear you. Don't forget to unmute. You're not muted. We'll give you a moment to sort it out. We'll come back in a minute. Sabrina, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Let me. Oh, have I unmuted? Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, we can hear you fine.
Goodness. I live in Spain, about an hour down the coast from Barcelona, and I teach English EFL at an after-school academy or a language school, and have been trying to introduce technology into the classroom with some failures. But slowly getting things together and trying to get my adult students to use technology more as well, and I created a blog for them. So I have a lot to learn, and I'm trying to help my students learn by using technology as well.
Okay, that's very nice. I'll be in Tarragona in July.
Kidding.
There's a conference there, yeah. So
oh, wow.
Is that where you are? Are you near there?
We're about 20 minutes away. If you need a place to stay, you can come stay.
Gosh.
Absolutely.
Hanging out with people. Okay, well, anyway, we'll talk more about that later.
Sure.
Let's see, David, you've just popped in. Maybe you'd like to say hi, who you are.
Hi, you guys. I've known Vance, I think, since 2001 or 2, when I picked him up at Kennedy Airport on the way to a very nice Chinese dinner at the house of a woman from Taiwan. Just warning you, Sabrina, what you're getting into. And I help educators, mostly math teachers, learn more about using this educational technology stuff for the last 20 years. So I don't really teach languages, but I like languages, and Vance has sort of introduced me through the webheads to people doing very cool stuff with technology in the interest of education generally. So I like hanging out with you guys and, finding out the occasional traveler who's coming either through New York or someone I can connect with. But, this is my professional development, sort of learning from you guys. So thanks.
Cool. Yeah, the Taiwanese lady was a webhead, and webheads, writing for webheads, of course, one of our original webheads. So she was somebody that we met. And visited her, I don't know, maybe that was the first time I had met her in New York. Well, anyway, Robert, do you want to try again?
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
You are. Yeah, we can.
Okay. Yeah, I'm on my iPad again. I don't know what the heck is going on with my desktop computer with my mic and everything there. And anyway, I'll introduce myself a little bit. And although I'm worried about how am I going to share, I've got some resources in an RTF file that's on my computer, and I don't know how to get them to my iPad, but never mind, we'll deal with that later. So I'm semi-retired right now, not teaching. Taught in California community colleges for about 25 years or so. I'm in the Philippines right now. Most recent teaching I did was actually this last semester here, which ended in October. Was my first graduate course teaching TESOL, teaching English teachers second language acquisition and second language teaching methods, etc. And really love it. It's sort of a new arena for me, although I've done a lot of professional development workshops and stuff over the years. I've been a technology user, seems like forever. I'll jump ahead a little bit and just share that I was part of the development team for some what was at least fairly popular software called Live Action English Interactive, which works really well on an interactive whiteboard. And that's one of the things that I wanted to share is when I believe Kara said that she's got interactive whiteboards in her new job, and this would be a good use. Anyway, that's more than enough about me for now, and I'll sign off and let somebody else speak.
Okay, well, let's seg back to Kara then. Kara is has explained that she's in a situation where she's going to be using interactive TV, ITV, and she's looking for, she doesn't really know where to begin in a way, so we could possibly, as you can see, we have a community of people who also don't necessarily know what we're doing, but at least we help each other, and we do, as David said, we come up with some cool stuff every now and then. So Jim in the chat is asking, I think, ITV, interactive TV, I believe that's where you have a class of students in one place and a teacher in another. Is that correct, Kara?
That's correct.
Okay, well, you go ahead and take over from there and explain what the position you're in. This is, in a way, kind of, it's like a hangout, except that the class is actually in one place. There's a TV camera there, and it's broadcasting. The teacher is supposed to be teaching that class, yeah, from a remote location.
Correct. Right. So my situation is that one of the three classes, two of the three classes I'm teaching will be face-to-face. I'm not so concerned about them. What I'm concerned about is the ITV class, where I will be sitting alone in a broadcast studio and transmitting to two separate classes, each with approximately 25. I think there'll be something over 50 as a combination of both classes. The good thing that's going to help me a little will be, or maybe a lot, is that each classroom will have an assistant, a human being who will facilitate the lesson, whatever it is. So that will be very helpful. I will have access to an interactive whiteboard, and so whatever I have on the screen, obviously the students will see. The students will also be able to interact with that whiteboard. So let's say, for example, I have something on the screen, and maybe it's a sentence, and maybe I can ask student A in room 1 to underline a word, or write the definition or something like that. So the students will be able to interact with that, and that's great. One of my big concerns is that, as I said before, some of my students will have some English, and some, I've been told, will have 0. As far as I know, none of the students have been evaluated, so that's going to be one of my first tasks. The first day of school is tomorrow, it's Monday, so I'm kind of nervous about it. So I will have to evaluate the students in some way. My concern is that, I'm just going to guess, that probably the majority of the students will be roughly around what we might call level 2. And then, of course, there probably going to be a small group, possibly as many as 6 or 8, I don't know, that have had 0 English. So handling this situation where, you know, the 0.1 students need ABC 1, 2, 3, while the other students need more advanced lessons. Juggling that in any situation would be difficult, but in this situation in which I have no experience is kind of daunting. So anything that anybody might contribute to that, I would be really glad to hear.
Perhaps
I'm going to stop now and I'm going to turn my mic off now and just listen.
Okay. Just having a background in instructional design, Kara, I'd like to suggest the following. First of all, the standard thing to do would be an analysis of where you're at, and you're sort of engaged in that already with what you've shared with us. But I've got a key question here. How are the students motivated, and why are they there? I've picked up that the course is offered for free. They're in a remote location. Why is it necessary to have you rather be remote to them? Is there a reason for that? And why are the students not having access to an instructor who can meet with them face to face? That's just
okay. Let me just clarify. Okay, I may have misspoke, or maybe my previous situation was adult education. My current situation is I'm teaching in a state university. Yes, it is in a rural area. The problem here is that they haven't been able to maintain, because it's in a rural area, a lot of people from the States or from Canada, you know, a native speaker who might come into the country to teach, they don't want to live here. They don't want to live in a place with ox carts. So the teachers that come haven't stayed. As a result of that, what they call the study plans, which are in real life would be, let's say, if the university was offering, let's say, English 101, English 201, and such. Those would be the study plans for each individual course. Even though some of those have been developed, they haven't really been put into practice. So, in other words, instead of evaluating the students as you would normally do, and then place the students according to their English ability in English 101 or 201 or whatever it is, the students are grouped not that way, but they are grouped according to their semester level of college. So we have a class of 6 semester students. Those are the students that I'll be teaching with the ITV. And again, not according to their English level, but they're grouped according to their duration time in the university. We might call freshman, sophomore, junior in the United States. So this is the problem, and there are so many in this particular 6th semester group, over 50, as I said, and there's only one teacher, and it's me. So that's why they're doing the ITV method with this particular group. So there's the dilemma, and
what's the student motivation?
So I know the student motivation is required. English is required for them to graduate. So
do the students know the level?
So part of the issue. I'm sorry?
So do the students know anything about the level of English they're supposed to aspire to? And how?
The teacher doesn't know, and this is the problem. Because, again, they haven't had anyone stay long enough to develop the program to the level, and also to be able to attract enough teachers to be able to do the normal thing, which would be to divide the students by their English ability level. So this is the problem, and The motivation of the students, as you said, is very important. However, the main motivation is they don't have a choice. They have to take this class in order to graduate. So therefore, I'm guessing, and I've been told by like some of the assistants, is that okay? And remember, these are indigenous students. So English is probably going to be the third language for some of these students. If you come from a rural village in Mexico in the mountains, you may not be able to understand that English is going to be something that is really going to help you in your life. Kind of be like me with algebra when I was in high school. I couldn't then, nor can I now, visualize any application in my personal life. So I know that part of the motivation, that part of my challenge will be motivating the students to help them realize that, yes, this is something that you should pay attention to, that you should be interested in, and that will help you in your life. So all of this will be a challenge.
So Dave is a math teacher, so he can help you with the algebra. Let's see.
I've given up on that.
Another thing is that is part of your challenge, as I understand from what you've written us, is that you're supposed to do two things. One is you're supposed to develop an EFL curriculum, and that, of course, is separate from the technology, which is one challenge, surely, and another one is, of course, dealing with the technology. So it sounds like, oh, and another thing I want to do too, I see a familiar face here. Elizabeth Ann has just joined us from Grenoble, and she's going to be our presenter next week, or our hostess for the Learning Together. So maybe a quick hi to her. Are you listening to what's going on here, and do you have any comments?
Well, yes, as you see, I've only just arrived, so I don't really have any comments, and I shall listen to the recording because it does seem to be dealing with very similar things to which I am confronted at the university in France. Is one, effectively the motivation, and two, entering the blended learning into the whole system, because these systems are so established, if that makes sense. Okay, that was all I can add right now. I'm listening carefully.
Okay, any other comments?
Yeah, just a couple of things here. I think a significant part of this is obviously motivation, and it's stating the obvious, but I'm also thinking that the matter of getting buy-in from the students, knowing what the motivation is, and then the next obvious thing is whatever is done be put in a context that's meaningful to them. This is all pretty standard stuff, I think. And so it's a question of knowing where the students are, how they're going to use what they learn in a practical sense, and thirdly, finding a way for them to use it with some sort of immediate application so that they realize the relevance of it. And that's a real challenge when you're there and they're someplace kilometers away and you haven't even met them yet. So, boy, it's a tough act. Can you speak to anybody in the village that's, you said there's going to be an aide there, can you speak to them in advance at all to find out what's going on in the community, where they have opportunities to use the language? And
yes.
So what they learn from you can then quickly be put to work in the community. You might want to invite them. Boy, the next challenge is their level of English, whether they're going to understand your instructions, but maybe the assistant can help you with this, but inviting them to perhaps use their mobile phone to go and record an interaction they have with somebody. They go out and they do some reporting on something. They come back with something that they can to discuss with you and their colleagues. Those are just some ideas I've got. The other thing is keeping in mind that if you're online like you are with them, you are with us now, you also have the opportunity to do what we're doing right now, to invite other people to participate, and so you don't feel so isolated or alone in dealing with them. It might be exciting for them to actually speak to other people on a topic that they're interested in. But I think that's further down the road. That's just some general thoughts to begin with.
Yes, that sounds great. And yes, I can speak with the assistants, and I've been in the village, well, the village where the main campus is, for about a month now, so I've gotten familiar a little bit with the town, and with the culture, not so much. That's going to take more time. But as far as I can tell, my husband and I are the only English speakers in town, so they really won't have much of an opportunity to find and practice with other English speakers. It's going to be a challenge. So this is truly a EFL situation, and I've found some people in town that, let's say, they lived in the United States for a few years and worked there and have a little command of the language, but as far as native speakers, they don't exist.
Let's see, in the interactive TV is something that has been around quite a while. I can't remember where I saw my first ITV demonstrations. It was probably 20 years ago or something like that. And the teachers who gave the demonstrations were very controlling and very they had a script they were following. They had definite activities they were doing. They were trying to engage students with constant back and forth, because of there wasn't really, in their situations, there wasn't, that didn't lend itself to throwing out a question like, who can tell me about this? They just didn't get responses like that. So that's a kind of the context I would imagine it might be. I don't know, but what Jim is suggesting, for example, implies that they might have some technology. If they had technology, like even a cell phone or smartphones, or if somebody did, then you could bring, and as to address the fact that you don't have native speakers there, the more interaction you can provide with native speakers. Hangout is one way, and it's just a way you can bring this kind of thing into your classroom, but I don't know how you would go from the ITV to the technology that they might have. That might be a little bit of a stretch. I'm not sure how it. Can you imagine how you might do that? Can you include Can you include Skype, let's say, for example, in what you're doing?
I think we could, yeah. The question is that in the classrooms, each student in each classroom has a desktop computer in front of them, with which they can connect to the internet. So I think there's a lot of possibilities here. The problem might be to narrow down, because as you all know, there's possibilities whenever any of us have access to the internet. I guess my big concerns are even more basic than that. As I said, a few of these students will have absolutely no English, and I understand that, as I said, I haven't been doing this very long, but I understand that these students, especially the ones with no foundation, need some kind of foundation to get started with, and they need some kind of ability to communicate so that they will have some confidence. So my plan is, at least for the first week, to focus on the most basic, which are introductions, introduce yourself, introduce family members or friends. So, getting the students up on their feet, and what I've done in the past is make little signs, and it might say Anna, sister. In this case, it might say Anna, sister, agronomy. And so it will be one person saying to their friend, this is my sister Anna, she studies agronomy. So at least it's just a really basic form of communication, and then help the students identify those words and begin to make sentences later. the trouble down the road, the first week, that's great. The first week is going to be testing the waters. The first week is going to be, seeing where they are, doing as best I can evaluations. I'm developing some really basic tests to try to just see where the students are. But after that, they're still going to need ABC 1, 2, 3. They're still going to need, basic vocabulary. And again, the challenge will be, motivating all the students at the same time, keeping the upper level, whether they're level 2, I don't know, keeping them working. And how do I incorporate, getting that basic instruction, ABC 1, which I call ABC 1, 2, 3, just for convenience, to that small group without neglecting the majority of the students. One thing that I've used in the past is something called Puma Rosa, and it's been developed by a fellow who teaches in Southern California. It is designed, and I think I will use it to great benefit for 2 reasons. Because it's designed for Spanish speakers, and it just starts with the basic ABC 1, 2, 3. So the next question is, how much time of my precious 1 hour a day with these students should I devote to having them use that technology and use that online resource, or maybe not use it at all in the classroom setting because we've only got 1 hour. The risk I take not using it during class time is that these, as I said, this is a required course. The students are studying agronomy. There are 3 fields, 3 degree fields in this university: agronomy, administration, and computer science. So they have other classes, they have other things to study, they have other homework to do. They're probably not going to devote a whole lot of time after class to using some of these online resources. So I want to be reasonable in my expectations of what they'll be doing. Yeah, so in short, the part of the decision-making process here is how much of online resources should I be using in class to help these lower-level students catch up.
Vance?
Mm-hmm. Thanks, David.
Tara, I don't have anything to add because I think you're going to have to, figure a lot of this out as you go. The one challenge that I found, we were doing some professional development presentations from Lehigh University in a personless TV studio to teachers who were getting professional development credit at home, watching on a local Philadelphia cable channel. So the motivation was that, they were learning and they didn't have to stay at school. And the hardest thing for me was having no visual feedback from the audience. That, we were interacting with them by phone, and we were desperate to get anybody to call an 800 number, because when you're just talking to, a camera or to an audio, a little studio with empty seats, it gets weird after a while because you don't know if anybody's paying attention, anyone is there. You feel very much sort of in outer space. So encouraging them at any level, in whatever language, to give you feedback is just going to be, I think, really important. And of course, the more they can do in English, the more mistakes they make, the better they'll learn.
Thank you, David. Good point.
An answer to your question about how much time to spend with them on internet resources. In my experience, if you want them to use internet resources, and you seem to know about some ones that would be suitable for beginners, you have to spend some time with them, showing them how to use it. They won't understand. I mean, I was working with, not with French adults who were, in a sophisticated modern country, and they didn't understand even quite simple things, about how to, to click and do an MCQ or drag and drop and things that seem quite obvious to us, and to find their way around, and they just wouldn't do it out of class, not because they were unwilling or unmotivated, they just didn't understand.
Thank you. Good points.
Yeah, sorry, yes, I was just going to add, as I said, that was exactly what I was going to say. My experience is that, I mean, it's not because the thing's there and we know it works that we're going to, get onto it. And I found with my third-year physics students, the difference between walking them through very quickly how to use that online tool made such a difference to saying, yeah, it's there, go and do it. That, like any teaching, that just doesn't work.
Yes, thank you.
I'd like to add something, if you can hear me. This is Robert.
I can hear you, Robert.
Yes? Okay. Yeah, a couple of things. As I mentioned before, if you're going to use the interactive whiteboard at least a little bit, and I think, I mean, it's such a great resource. Even if you only use it 10 minutes once a week, do something fun. And again, I have to I'm pushing our own product that but Live Action English Interactive, and I shared a URL in the chat wing discussion, because on my iPad I don't know how to get to a text thing here. All I see is the visual. But the software works really well on interactive whiteboard, and it's really good for beginners. It's based on TPR, so every unit starts with a video. There's a simple comprehension check. I've used it with level 1 or whatever students, and it's really user-friendly. The other thing is, I posted. I would recommend website like Randall's ESL Cyber Listening Lab, which is free and has great native speaker, short, mostly dialogues, very short, a minute or so, and then a built-in comprehension check, very simple multiple choice thing, which is something that you could demonstrate in class or to your remote places. And then it's something that is really, again, user-friendly, that students could use on their own wherever they are, assuming they have some kind of internet, or I'm not sure how well it works. I think it should work on a iPad or a device like that. Anyway, there's a lot of stuff, and so. It sounds like you've got a big challenge, but I would, if it were me, I would at least try to do some fun stuff that is easy, and probably some of them or most of them should be able to use these resources, especially like Randall's is a really easy site to use. So, and if Vance, if you push, well, my I call it TESOL LePro, which is listening pronunciation. It's a Wikispaces site that has a lot of listening sites and a lot of other tools that are probably too much for your situation, but there's a lot of different resources there.
Thank you,
Yeah, I copied
Robert.
those.
And
this is what he just mentioned. I'm copying from the chat wing.
Excuse me, Vance, may I come to? Vance,
sure,
may I come to the discussion?
Yes.
Okay. As I mentioned I'm from Iran, and it was about 30 years I was teaching English in different classes in high school. And 2 years ago I retired, and now I'm working on higher education universities As Robert mentioned about Randall's ESL lab, I have used it as my thesis in MA thesis. It was a very good source for listening comprehension, especially for foreign learners. The English language as a foreign language, I have a very good experience on it. It was a good and only source for using for me, and I got the what do you say, the permission from the Randalls to use it in our classroom for my project, for my thesis, and it gave me the good result. Another thing which what can I add here is the using internet in our classrooms, especially in Iran, which I got it, giving high motivation to my students and activating our students to use it in daily activities. But the main problem in Iran, which we have, is the speed of the internet, the limitations, some blockness, and such a blah blah blah. And it is about 1 year I'm using tablets, and I'm going to find out to find more apps to use in educational affairs, especially in language teaching and learning, and also making some multimedia based lessons and activating my students, my teachers, some teachers in our city and our country. And also I'm working on different applications, especially in Android. And several times I have written in different Yahoo groups and other groups, and I would like to give my special thanks to Vance, which he helped me and gave me more advice, and it changed my life. Jeff Lebo and especially Vance Stevens. Thank you very much.
Okay, well, thank you, Morteza. Appreciate that. Let's see. We're coming past the top of the hour. It's not too late here. Jim has gone off because it's about that time here in the UAE. But we could let this go for another 5 or 10 minutes, I suppose. Anyway, I just want to let you know that we're coming down to where we should probably be stopping. So any other comments are more than welcome. Oh, I was going to say something too, by the way, and that is that I think you need a portal to organize this. Do you have one in mind? Are you using any learning management system, or I use a wiki always. I always have a wiki for my classes. Do you have anything like that in mind, or did I miss it?
No, I'm wiki challenged. No.
There are two you can use. One is pbworks.com, PBWORKS, and the other is Wikispaces. Personally, I prefer PBWorks, but a lot of people like Wikispaces. So what you do is you just basically start a web page, and then you write down what you want the students to do on a day-by-day basis. I can give you an example. I'll put one in the text chat.
This was. Sorry, I was just interrupt. I was just going to interrupt because I was thinking for next week. You know, was it worth speaking much about PBWorks? Because to me, it's such a basic, essential tool when working. You know, when introducing any kind of online learning, and our Evo sessions with all their years of experience and all the changing tools have never left behind the wiki as a kind of a stable base. And it's exactly what I'm talking about next week, actually. Among other things.
Yeah. Kara can benefit from popping by next week. What time will that be, Elizabeth?
The same time as this, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
2 o'clock. Yeah.
14 GMT.
Absolutely.
2 p.m. GMT. Okay. Yeah, that is, you know, this is another thing you can do, Kara, is you can you could go to other spaces where people are learning things, and EVO, but Halima mentioned that, the EVO sessions, Electronic Village Online is something we do every year. We've just finished our 5-week sessions, but you could actually go to evosessions.pbworks.com. Here again, you can, if you visit there, you can see how they organize their interaction online, and it's what that will do is it will give you links to many other sessions that people have been putting on, and you can have a look and see how they organize things and how do they interact with people in online spaces. And I think that's I'll just pop a link to what I call Vance's class.pbworks.com. It's just something that I use to organize what some of my students know when I come to class. They know what to hit, so they'll know what we're going to do that day. So, and then it gives them links, of course, to where to go and things like that. So I try to organize things like that. Anyway, I'll give you the example and you can check it out. Any other comments?
Cara?
Oh.
Go ahead.
Could I say some more about TPR? Because the links that I see are all things you have to buy, apparently, and it's very easy to do it without any material. What do you know anything about it, Cara? TPR. You remember the games?
Yes. Yes.
Because it's something that works very well with people of different levels in the same group. I mean, you start off very simple and you demonstrate, you say, they do it. Stand up, sit down, turn around, put your hands on your head. And then the stronger ones can lead it. They say instead of you, and the weaker ones, or the total beginners, they just do it. And when they feel strong enough, they can say it. And it's great fun. I mean, everyone has. You just need imagination to think up different things to say and do, and the students will think them up too. And you don't. It doesn't cost anything. It's just your imagination. I'm sure you've got plenty.
Oh, good. The hokey pokey. That's great. You know, I think the comment about the 50 students. Remember, those 50 students will be divided into 2 classrooms, and I think as long as we make sure we turn off the microphones to each classroom, then yes, I think that physical response is a great technique, and yes, I do hope to use it, and whether it's Simon Says or that kind of thing, but the students need to be up and moving at least for part of the time. Yes, thank you, Glennis, for that reminder.
I'd like to mention that for Total Physical Response, the website CPLI, Command Performance Language Institute, Conti Seeley, most of what that's about is TPR materials. And Conti and his co-author Elizabeth Kaisinga wrote a book that now is about, 30 years old, still going strong, Live Action English, which actually our software is based on, a series of TPR commands based on everyday activities, some just for fun, etc. A great resource, a little paper-bound book, which I don't know how you get it there, but and then the other thing I just wanted to say is I'd like to hear from you. Make reports to this group or something. Check in with us after a couple weeks and hear how it's going. You've got the biggest challenge I can imagine, and we're all rooting for you.
Thank you, Robert, and I just really want to thank all of you for taking time out of your precious day off to help me out, and I've got a whole list of notes here and some websites and some great ideas, so I really simpleenglishvideos.com. Thank you. So I really appreciate the help.
Cara, just one other suggestion is, the language stuff comes first and the technology is, should support it. And, again, I find often younger people or just different people will have different ideas about using technology, especially what they have. And you won't know that until you meet them. So again, you get, I find, more buy-in if people can bring sometimes their own good ideas, even if it's about using the tech, versus the language, but, then they feel more invested.
Good point, David. Very good point. Thank you.
I'd just like to mention that Cara has found us, the Webhead side. She also approached teaching, because Benjamin Stewart is in Aguas Calientes in Mexico, so maybe that's perhaps how you reached him. It seems like a logical geographical connection in any event. So that's the teachers interactive language learning. Teachers for interactive language learning. So that was a joint session we had planned for tonight. But on the Webhead side, she's a friend of Leanne McKenzie, who used to live in somewhere near Kamloops, I think, and in what is that? That's British Columbia already, or is it still over in Alberta? I can't remember, but anyway, in Canada. And she used to get up at 5:30 in the morning to join us pretty regularly for our Sunday gatherings, because we've been doing this for 15 years now. But anyway, then she got in a van and with her husband drove down to Mexico, and she's there in Oaxaca now, near there, I think. And she's met Cara and suggested Cara get in touch with us. So that's what we're doing here. And David says Leanne was there in in New Jersey. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, well, we get to know each other. I met Elizabeth Ann in Morocco at a conference, for example. Robert's been a friend for some time in TESOL conferences. Haven't met Glennis yet. Sabrina, I might meet in Tarragona. So these are people that have been helping each other out for a long time. So you've come to the right place.
Thank you so much. It's great to be part of the group. Yes, Leanne's about an hour from me.
Ah, okay. It's down in that part.
They've got a beautiful place there. It's a wonderful little town, and Oaxaca is just a gorgeous place of the world. Cool
I've
beans
been there
indeed.
a couple of times. When I was really young, I used to go there and buy things and bring them back up to Texas to sell them. So I'm sure it's changed a lot since then. Hopefully not that badly. The mariachi band in the gazebo is something. Do they still have that in the town square?
In Oaxaca City?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I have not seen a mariachi band in Oaxaca City, but they often have other kinds of music. And yeah, the city probably has changed, but where I am, with the horse carts, is still pretty basic. Okay.
Well, anyway, thanks everybody for coming out. It's been a great turnout, especially considering it was so spontaneous. Benjamin got sick apparently and must be sleeping because it's so early there. So when you're ill, of course, you can't get up at 6 in the morning and start these things going. But anyway, he did set up an event, and at that event page, Google Plus Communities, we managed to put a link to the Hangout here, and we've had a pretty nice Hangout. Pretty much kept our stride, I think, is what we normally get. Well, actually, you can only have 10 in a Hangout anyway. But really nice to meet Cara, and thanks everyone else for coming out. 1st of March 2015, Learning Together and Teaching Teachers for Interactive Language Learning sessions. So good night to all, I suppose.
Okay, thank you everybody again for all the great tips, and I hope to join up with you again soon.
Yeah, okay. And as Robert said, please come back and let us know, or communicate. You're in Webhead's the Webhead's Yahoo group list now, so you can also send us a note every now and then. Let us know how it's going, and we'll possibly get you back here on Learning Together and do a post show. Okay. Well, anyway, good night.
Good luck.
Have a nice
Happy
day.
teaching.
Yep. As Jeff LeBeau says, we now
Adios.
return you to your normal lives. Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Adios.
Okay. Bye-bye.